blindfolds and earmuffs and shackles and put onto a private jet. 9 months of being unable to sleep because mentally ill inmates would bang the doors and shout and scream in an underground dog cage. His face looked like he was about to cry. When you are broken, when you are finished, when you are defeated, when you are at the point, you are at the verge of giving up, at that point, when you are at the point of utter despair,
أخي أنت حر بتلك القيود إذا كنت بالله مستعصما فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It was the summer of 2013, July, and I had been in a Supermax prison in Connecticut for about 9 months. It had been 9 months since I was put in blindfolds and earmuffs and shackles and put onto a private jet and extradited to the United States. I was held in a super maximum security prison alongside death row. I had been there for 9 months. 9 months of being unable to sleep because mentally ill inmates would bang the doors and shout and scream all day and all night long. 9 months of no contact with any other prisoners, being able to call my family for 3 15-minute calls a week, recreation in an underground dog cage for 1 hour 3 times a week, 3 showers a week where I'd be taken out of my cell, subjected to a strip search, put in shackles, and the shackles would remain on in the shower. During this time I had been working on my case and looking through all the evidence that the US government had put against me, and it was around that time where my lawyers, they sat together with the prosecution lawyers to try and negotiate a plea agreement. That is the way the US judicial system works. As soon as I had arrived in America, I had told my lawyers that I'm ready to plead to anything. I've already been in prison for 8 years. I'll plead guilty to anything. Anything they say, I'll plead guilty to it just so that I can go home. So we had that meeting, and my lawyers had that meeting, and then they came back and they reported to me what was the outcome of that meeting. I went to the legal visit room in the Supermax prison, and then I saw my 2 lawyers, Terry, who was the older man, and Kelly, who was the younger woman. These were my 2 lawyers, and just by looking at their faces I could see that they had worried looks on their faces. And when Terry began to tell me what was the outcome of that meeting, it was that if I was to plead guilty, the sentence that the prosecution wanted me to serve, it was almost like a life sentence. And as Terry said that to me, his face looked like he was about to cry, and then I looked at Kelly and her face looked the same, and I was completely devastated. Terry said to me, he said, "We will regroup, Babar, don't worry, we will try," but I wasn't sure if he believed it or not. The visit ended and I went back in silence to my cell, the door shut, and I fell down on my prayer mat and I made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I said that, "Oh Allah, I need your help now." I said, "Oh Allah, you are more powerful than them. Don't leave me at their mercy. Here I am, I have nothing, I have no one. I'm at the mercy of the world's superpower. The whole world literally is against me. Show your might, show your power. You are mightier than them. You are more powerful than them. Don't leave me to their mercy." And then I picked up a copy of the Quran as I had done many times during by that point I had been in prison for 9 years without trial. I opened a copy of the Quran, I closed my eyes, and I put my finger at random, and when it opened, it came to Surah number 12, Surah Yusuf, verse number 87, in which Allah said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya bani yadhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf wa akhihi wa la tay'asu min rawhillah, innahu la yay'asu min rawhillahi illa al-qawm al-kafirun. And when Yaqub, the Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, and when he found out that his second son, so this is the context of the story, his son Yusuf had been gone for years, maybe 30 or 40 years, had disappeared. And now Yusuf's brother Binyamin had also been taken, and he feared he might lose him. And he was at the point of utter despair, and he told his sons that try once more, just once more. He said, Ya bani yadhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf wa akhihi wa la tay'asu min rawhillah. He said, oh my sons, go back once more and try to find out what has happened to Yusuf and his brother. But don't despair of the mercy of Allah. For indeed none despairs of the mercy of Allah except the disbelievers. He said, just try, just once more. And then we know the story. They went back and they were able to find Yusuf and his brother. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was communicating to me that don't lose hope, Babar. Just try again. Just one little bit more. And there is this famous saying which people say, and maybe it's from the Quran, the origins of it, that victory comes one step after defeat. When you are broken, when you are finished, when you are defeated, when you are at the point, you are at the verge of giving up, when you are able to take that extra step, at that point, then that is when your victory comes. And so I made dua to Allah, and I kept on making dua to Him like I'd never made dua to Him before. And I worked on my case, and I looked at the case papers again, and then I was able to find something. And then a week later there was another meeting that took place, and the US government made a complete U-turn, and they then backed down, and they gave me an offer which meant that I would be home within a few months, and that's what happened. So at that point, when you are at the point of utter despair, and you can just continue a little bit more and not lose hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have that little bit of hope when you are completely broken, that is the point where you should expect Allah's help to come to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أخي أنت حر وراء السدود، أخي أنت حر بتلك القيود، إذا كنت بالله مستعصما فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد، فماذا يضيرك كيد العبيد. أخي أنت حر